Hello and a very warm welcome to you all. That's the lovely world of old-timey Western America, where today's intro is going to be quick, snappy and short as we get right into things after yet another long absence. Today, we'll be continuing our perilous journey as Arthur Morgan as we continue to find out, can you beat Red Dead Redemption 2 as a hunter? Our journey continues today where we last left off in episode 1, at our brand new camp in Horseshoe Overlook out near Valentine. A lovely bustling little town for our gang to get up to all sorts of mischief and mayhem. With access to our weapons chest, we are now able to manually choose what weapons will and will not appear on our horse, and also our inventory, thus allowing us to minimize the amount of failures in each mission as we have less weapons to be accessed, meaning less failures. With those weapons sorted out, I make my way out of Arthur's tent area to go and say hello to everyone's favourite lazy old man, Uncle.
Does it pay well?
Oh, eventually.
So, while the rest of us are busy stealing, killing, lying, fighting to try to survive, you get to think all day.
Well, it's a strange world we live in, Arthur Morgan.
Do you want to head into town? See if we can find anything out?
Sure. I got some errands to run.
Great. Go check the horses are ready.
You gonna take the old man into town? You take us too?
Well, what you got planned?
Nothing. We'll find something for y'all to do. We always do.
We're bored out of our minds. Been cooped up here for 2 weeks now. Karen's about ready to murder Grimshaw.
Well, can Miss Grimshaw spare you?
Can Miss Grimshaw spare you? What's happened to you, Arthur? 3 young, healthy women want you to take them a robbing. You're worried about house chores. Let's go.
Fair enough. You got me. Come on then.
I can't believe we're gonna see.
After a bit of chit-chat and Arthur antagonizing Uncle over his laziness, the two of us go alongside the company of Karen, Tilly, and Mary Beth, board the wagon and head out to go and find ourselves some work in Valentine. As I'm sure most of you are aware, in the last episode, the gang left off with some low funds and a desperate need for some more money in our pockets, and so, Arthur being the good gang member he is, sets off in hopes of finding this money. The ride out is mostly uneventful, as a lady sings us a song. However, they are rudely interrupted by a man who clearly didn't read the famous Horse Riding for Dummies book that Arthur read so much as a boy, proving that he is in fact the dummy. After some persuading from the ladies, Arthur offers to lend his assistance, moving over to the man and offering to help. Once his aid was accepted, he carefully and meticulously brought the horses back to the man in a calm and simple fashion, with absolutely zero trouble. Continuing our journey, we make our way into Valentine and the women head off to find some work whilst Uncle and Arthur head into the general store, planning on grabbing some basic supplies to help in a pickle, should they find themselves facing such a situation. Of course, Uncle being Uncle, can't help himself but to make some sort of strange comment about him being the one-shot kid. Okay. To which, of course, Arthur is immediately disturbed, and rightly so. I would be too, Arthur. I would be too. After Arthur lists his different favourite parasites and places Uncle on his smash or pass tier list of deadly parasites, we enter the general store and pick up some basic goodies to help us on our way. After gathering our supplies, we sit outside with a drink in our hand, and Arthur, the silly boy he is, passes out, and a little while later is awoken by Mary Beth, who finally gives us some good news and good details on a train full of rich individuals with some lovely cash just laying around waiting for us to plunder like the thick thieves we are. While talking about the train, we notice Tilly being manhandled by a man who seems to not be handling his anger very well, and Arthur, as usual, is a cowboy for the job. He steps in, threatening the man and making sure he leaves Tilly alone. Once she was dealt with, Arthur moves on, heading into the hotel to find Karen, wondering where our cunning cohort had scampered off to. Asking around the front desk, we figure out where she is and make our way upstairs. The first we of course check various other doors, just in case we've been misled by the thieving desk worker. After verifying we haven't been bamboozled, Arthur kicks down the door and walks inside, finding Karen being attacked by a man Not even a mother could love him. After beating the fool down, we stop to check on Karen, ensuring she's well and unharmed. There. Did you see it? The mirror in the corner. Some say the Valentine Hotel is haunted by an angry spirit, still looking to get what he paid for. Could this be a sign that the ghost truly haunts this lust-filled place? Only time will tell. Exiting the building with Karen, we regroup with the others and she tells them of how brave Arthur was. Which, of course, isn't very shocking. Arthur is very brave. However, unfortunately, our celebration of everyone's favourite gunslinger is cut short when a man in a suit confronts Arthur about being in Blackwater a few weeks back. I told you it'd be brought up a lot. Knowing the man could alert authorities of the gang's location, Arthur sets off, chasing him down, trying to catch up to the man and stop him from telling anyone about his dirty deeds that most definitely did not cost dirt cheap. Temporarily borrowing a man's horse, we set off chasing down the man through the town of Valentine, making sure to kill a chicken or two as we ride through a barn. We chase the man through some fields and hills before arriving at a cliff's edge, where the silly sausage seems to have taken a mighty tumble and is dangling from the cliff's edge. Here is where we get our first big decision of the run, deciding this stranger's fate. Of course, with our desire to become the best and most wholesome man this side of America, Arthur helps the gentleman up, after scolding him over being so prejudiced to men with bushy beards. Of course, the stranger introduces himself as Jimmy Brooks, no doubt in an attempt to befriend the greatest hunter to ever live, but Arthur simply threatens the man and makes his way back into Valentine.
You see, I was in Blackwater. I kill people. And maybe I should have killed you. Should I have killed you, Jimmy Brooks?
Returning the horse like the good boy he is, and getting himself an extra bit of honour. After a brief stop in the gun store to see if we can customize our bow, we find we cannot, and can instead customize our knife, which is now another goal of mine for this adventure. We head over to another little bar in Valentine where we find two gentlemen nattering with one another. Now unfortunately for this quest, we cannot really do it. See, this quest, we meet Jim Boy Calloway, and a gentleman trying to write his story. The story and quest takes us to meet multiple legendary gunslingers to help this man write a book about the famous Jim Boy Calloway. Now unfortunately, while we could do this, we need to duel these people for the most part, which is fair enough, but seeing as we cannot use a revolver or any sort of pistol which would be used in the duel, that means we cannot really do this quest, as we are locked to a bow, a knife, or throwing knives and a varmint rifle, which cannot be used for dueling. So, after talking to the man and realizing we cannot do the quest, we head off in search for a different quest on our grand adventure. Whilst roaming around, we come across some angry-looking gentlemen arguing over some nonsense. Of course, in classical Western style, one kills the other and Arthur kills one that killed the other. The rest of our ride around is pretty peaceful, as Arthur finds his horse and continues on with his journey for money and work. During our journey, we come across a prison wagon that seems to be carrying some O'Driscolls and is being attacked by the very O'Driscolls they're keeping. And with my trusty bow in hand, I take out the dastardly devils and loot their corpses for some free things. Of course, I kill the one inside too after a few missed shots with a bow. It turns out shooting through bars with a bow is quite difficult. Returning back to Valentine, we encounter our good friends Javier Escuela and Charles Smith, flirting with some ladies in the saloon.
Come over here. I want you to meet our friends.
Pleased to meet you.
Well, ain't you just a tough-as-teak mountain man?
Oh, you be quiet, Anastasia. Anyone can tell this one is a pussy cat.
Exactly. Yes, he's a pussy cat. Ain't that so, Arthur?
Whatever you say. How much you cost, anyway?
After offending Arthur with the talk of pussycats and mountain lions for some reason, our charming hunter sends him away and gets to talking with his compatriots about random nonsense, such as money and things we can do. Soon enough, everyone's favourite Bill comes stumbling into the bar, bumping into a stranger, and after playing a game of will they, won't they, the stranger ends up punching him, causing a lovely ruckus within the saloon. Hopping into the fire, Arthur of course saw his lefts, rights and knocks the lights out of some poor patrons, and he heads to aid his friends. All is going well until Tommy comes stomping down the stairs. Who's Tommy, you may be asking? Well, he's not the one who plays Minecraft, thank God, and he's not the creator of The Room either. This man is 100% muscle and no brains, as he comes down and picks a fight with Arthur and his chums. Of course, Arthur can't show all of his power in one go, so he lets the big lad take a swing and throw it through a window before the real fight begins.
Come on, pretty boy.
Pretty boy, you're kidding me. Pretty boy?
With a wham, bing, bang and a wallop, the big Goliath goes down and with a thud, and Arthur gets ready to finish him off when the town's do-gooder and farmer comes running to save the day and stop the big boy from dying. Which is very nice of him. I'm sure nothing bad will ever happen to this kind gentleman. Taking a seat nearby, Arthur meets up with Dutch and an old pal, Josiah Trelawney, a man who looks like a magician but has none of the skills to truly be one, unfortunately for him. After some back and forth, we learn that our good friend Sean is being held by some dastardly bounty hunters, and Dutch begins following a plan in that big brain of his to go and rescue the lovable Irishman. Realizing we stink and look like the dung that comes from Arthur's horse, we walk to the hotel we rescued Karen from and take a nice well-deserved bath inside, washing our private parts and scrubbing ourselves nice and good to be cleanest boy and goodest boy in the West. On our way to the next quest, we come across a gentleman tending to his horse, only to witness the horse kick and kill the poor gentleman. Attempting to calm the horse, we intend to rob it, just like we intended to rob him, and take the belongings from the satchel on its back. Like some sort of Looney Tunes cartoon, we get knocked down, we get back up again, only to be kicked and killed as we try to rob the horse. But turning back this time intended to kill it, the horse seems to be gone, and this time it's replaced by even more O'Driscolls, who meet their end by the mighty bow in our back and the knife in our pocket. Continuing on, we reach a train station in hopes of finding Reverend Swanson, a good member of the gang who seems to have a bit of a drinking problem, unfortunately. I'm sure his god isn't very pleased about that. Finding him playing some cards, the man is clearly too drunk, so we take his place, eager to win some free money from these fools who clearly don't know that Arthur is the best in the business and more than just at hunting. After beating the men in a round of the game, we get up to go and find the not-so-holy man, only to find he's not only disappeared, but is also harassing poor people. So we set off on a scavenger hunt, hot on his heels and chasing the Reverend down. Finding him once more, we see he's accosting a poor person, who unfortunately mistakes Arthur for the Reverend. Clearly he must have been hit over the head a couple of times. So we beat this gentleman to the ground and continue chasing down the Reverend, only to be stopped by another person who clearly is mistaken by the scenario. So we chase him down as well, as we make sure he knows he's simply blind, and then continue to search for the man who strayed from God. Being the fool he is, the Reverend is walking on the nearby train tracks, clearly looking to meet his maker and pick a fight with him too. Luckily, we get there just in time as we save the Reverend from the train and finally get him off the tracks. Hearing him sob and groan about how pathetic he is. Riding back to camp with him, we drop the drunken fool off in his tent and take off yet another mission on our quest.
Your way to salvation, my friend.
What happened?
Just the usual.
Poor bastard.
After walking around the camp, we hear Hosea calling our name, who asks us to come hunting with him. Being fond of the elderly man, Arthur of course says yes. Of course, nothing is simple in Red Dead Redemption 2, so before we go for the bear, we head over to Valentine, selling a large black horse that Hosea robbed from someone, and getting ourselves a brand new horse, a legendary steed that fits us well, a horse that would last us a lifetime, a horse named Arthur Jr. With our new child groomed and ready to go, we head out on the horse's back, following alongside Hosea through the mountains surrounding Valentine, off in search of the great big beast. Having been riding for quite some time by this point, we set up a camp and catch ourselves a rabbit to eat at the request of Hosea. Killing and catching the little critter, we return back to our elderly companion and set up camp for the night, cooking the rabbit meat and getting ourselves a road snack. Morning comes and Arthur wakes up fully dressed in clothes that no doubt reek of something dreadful, taking some coffee from Hosea to help us give us a kick in the pants for the day ahead. As we know, Arthur hates to litter, and so, before we leave, we clean up the mess we made, not wanting to become another Cornwall Driscoll by making litter everywhere. So, we head off once more after cleaning up to go on a bear hunt, and we know we're going to catch us a big one. Along the way, Hosea and Arthur chat about the good old days and about how things used to be, till we reach the riverbank, where Arthur begins his hunt searching for the legendary creature. Now, I'm going to let this footage run for a moment whilst I talk about some problems with this mission. Now, when I recorded this, I had no idea that you could kill this bear with a tomahawk during the Deadeye section. I was completely oblivious to the fact that you could even get one this early in the game. Unfortunately, for those who've played this mission, you know that the bear charges you down and forces you into a Deadeye section, where you must shoot the bear to knock it away and to stop it from killing you. And you must do so with an adequate weapon for Deadeye. And now unfortunately, a bow sadly is not an adequate weapon. And while yes, I do get the Varmint rifle relatively soon, I did not yet have it in my inventory currently, leading to an unfortunate moment where I had to shoot the beast with my revolver. This means yet another fail added to the list, though this one was simply due to a lack of research on my part. After the bear gets the drop on us from placing our bait, we fail the challenge with the forced Deadeye section and also end up dying to the big beast, leading to us trying a second time. The bear grapples with us, and things don't look good until Arthur manages to stab the creature with his knife, saving the challenge just a little bit. After scaring it off, we comfort Hosea, making sure he's alive and mock him a little for being so cowardly, sending him off on his own back to camp, while we stay behind and track the creature down.
I'm gonna stick around here for a while.
I'll see you back at camp. Yeah!
For those of you keeping track of the rules at home, before the challenge is done, I must kill every legendary animal in the game, and lucky for us, this bear is one such creature unlocked from the very beginning. So, heading after the bear, we track it down up into the mountains, armed and ready with our bow. Like the great hunter we are, and totally not a coward, we stand up on a rock, getting good aim at the big creature, taking shots at it until it's finally dead, making sure we're safe and sound and our prey is vanquished. Heading over to confirm the kill, I do a celebratory teabag on the creature before skinning it and taking its meat and pellet for myself. Now, I glossed over this bit earlier, however Hosea also gave us a map to track legendary creatures with, telling us where they are and what they are. We've killed the bear, which is one legendary creature down, and now we have plenty more to kill too. Another rule of this challenge, which you may remember, is to find ourselves a legendary outfit to wear from the creatures we've killed, and lucky for us, the trapper is nearby. Paying him a visit, we sell off the pelt from Baloo the bear, and then check out his clothing, where we find ourselves an outfit Arthur will be receiving before the challenge is done. The Night Wrangler. A very cool looking outfit in my opinion, and one I'm quite excited to get a hold of. With that bit of business completed, I set up camp nearby, hoping to fast travel to my destination, completely forgetting this is not yet unlocked, only to be harassed by some freakish men who seem to think they own the land I'm camping. Arthur, not taking kindly to threats like this, teaches a man a lesson in manners by turning and simply killing them as they walk away. Returning to the camp, I craft some food and then put it away, heading off to find more adventure. Whilst returning back to Valentine, I find a woman in the road whose horse seems to have died. Poor her! Of course, I offer to help and take her back into the town, receiving some payment for my service and some honour. And then, after leaving Valentine and the woman, I make my way back up to camp, where I come across a strange woman digging for something. Now, Lucky for us, this is one of the quests that I'll be able to complete before the challenge is done, a side quest called Test of Faith. In this quest, in Tis quest? How did I spell that wrong? Arthur is set out on a journey to find a bunch of dinosaur bones by a science-loving woman. And of course, Arthur being Arthur, he's glad to help. He's glad to be of assistance and make himself useful.
I study dinosaurs. You know, big lizards.
Are they real?
Of course they're real, you nincompoop. And everywhere.
Everywhere? Sure. Why not?
And we'll be proving a lot of stuck-up buffoons very, very wrong. Which, trust me, is the very best thing about science. Good day to you, sir.
After she enlists his help and all is said and done for the time being with her, we head back to camp to pick up yet another quest, this time talking with the O'Driscoll boy Kieran, who is continuing to be sad and pathetic, like usual.
Who am I kidding? One of O'Driscoll's boys couldn't open his mouth, but he'd tell a lie. Screw it. Let's just have some fun. Geld him.
They know their interrogation by the boys failed. We decide to threaten the man by getting dynamite-loving Bill to threaten his two little friends downstairs for being cut off. Of course, Kieran the O'Driscoll willingly helps once he's being encouraged, and so he tells us the location of Dutch's biggest rival, Colm O'Driscoll, telling us that apparently he's holed up someplace nearby.
I know where O'Driscoll's holed up, and you're right. He don't like you any more than you like him. He's at 6 Point Cabin.
Riding with Bill and John as well as the snake of an O'Driscoll, we head out in hopes of finding and ending this feud between the gangs once and for all. God, how many times have I said O'Driscoll this video? Should have had a tally mark or something for the amount of times I said it. Some O'Driscolls are very O'Driscolls that keep even more O'Driscolls. With the O'Driscoll boy, Kieran the O'Driscoll, Colm O'Driscoll, snake of an O'Driscoll, so I said O'Driscoll this video.
I smell like horse.
Bill and Arthur have yet another argument when Bill finally informs Arthur that he's got mail in the form of throwing knives. But the journey to our destination is mostly uneventful, aside from the begging and crying of Kieran and the bickering between Arthur and Bill.
You see, O'Driscoll? If this is how he treats his friends, imagine what he does to his enemies.
I got an inkling of what you all do to your enemies when you put those gelding tongs to my parts.
Reaching our destination, we follow Kieran to the O'Driscoll camp, sneaking around through the trees and grass before coming up on three of them separated from the group. Quickly, I switch games to play a bit of Metal Gear Solid and begin sneaking around, taking enemies down one by one, so we reach the main camp. And here is where I'll let you witness this wonderful fight in all its glory.
We're at the perimeter.
Time to move on them. You ready?
As I'll ever be.
Let's go.
How you doing?
It's up! It's on! We move quick! We move hard!
These are the fellas from up in the Grizzlies.
Clean them up! Clean them out!
This is quite a hideout!
Die, you drunk idiots!
We can defend the cabin. Fall back! Christ alive!
You stay here, you dead man!
We catch you unawares!
It was calm! This is done! You're worthless O'Driscoll hides!
Fellas coming back in the camp! You weren't lying, that little toast!
Come at me, you Irish bastard! Give up, O'Driscolls! We got you beat!
That's it! They're turning tail!
Clearing out all the enemies, we head to the cabin right at the heart of things, ready to kill Cole once and for all and end this damned feud. That is of course until a stranger bursts out of the cabin ready to kill Arthur instead. What a twist of events. All seems lost and a hero seems to have failed and been lost in this world. Is this truly how it ends? Arthur Morgan, dead at the feet of some nobody? No, of course not. He's the main character of the game, don't be stupid. God, you people are gullible. Kieran saves us, and most shockingly, he protects us from this strange man. He kills the man. Oh my god. Arthur, you're alive. You did it. Anyway, Arthur continues to threaten Kieran, because of course he does, despite being saved by the poor gentleman. Realizing we haven't been set up, a new hero joins our gang as Kieran officially becomes another member in this ragtag team of outlaws.
So I'm one of you now.
Give me a break. All right, then.
After struggling to walk through the door for a few seconds, we enter the cabin, finding a loaded shotgun which we'll never use, as well as a decent amount of money to share with the gang, but sadly no call. Looting the bodies, we make a quick escape as some bounty hunters are hot on our trail, eager to kill us or bring us alive to the nearest jail. With a narrow escape, we return back to camp and meet up with Dutch to speak about what's next, only for our good friend Lenny to come crashing into the scene, telling us about Micah and him nearly getting killed.
Arthur!
What's going on?
They got Micah. He's been arrested for murder. He was in Strawberry.
It's okay, son. Breathe.
They nearly lynched me. They got Micah and the sheriffs in Strawberry, and there's talk of hanging him.
Here's open.
Of course, everyone except Dutch is delighted to hear that Micah is locked away, but Dutch demands that Arthur goes and rescues him. Of course, we're good, and we say that we will, but first we go and get Lenny nice and drunk to help ease his mind. And thus begins the most stupid and yet entertaining mission in all of Red Dead Redemption 2. And because there are quite literally 0 words to sum up this mission with how insane it is, I'm simply going to let this play out, and I'm going to let Editor Echo have free reign of things here. So, enjoy.
Yeah, boy.
Just 1 or 2. Right, Arthur?
That's great, partner. Of course, just a drink.
I don't know.
No big drama. Can we get a couple beers, please?
I don't want no trouble.
You'll get none from me. I was defending myself.
Tommy, he's...
He'll be fine. Here, have one for yourself. Never mind.
Micah seemed to know a lot of people. That was the problem.
How you mean?
I mean, I done seen a lot of crazy stuff, but Micah...
A lot of crazy stuff. Will you shut up? Will you shut up?
Oh, Nick!
Be quiet, buddy.
Oh, they're dullards. My lord, you men is dull.
Oh. Oh. That's great, partner. Lenny, where are you? Hey, you see my friend anywhere?
I've no idea.
Lenny, where are you? Lenny! Lenny!
Hello, Arthur. You know what? I don't know. Man, why ain't you never married?
Lord have me. Yippee! Lenny? Lenny!
Get away from me! Now, slippery little shit, ain't you?
Are you in here, Lenny? Lenny, where are you at? Leave the kid alone, you goddamn animals!
Who do you think you're talking to?
Nobody. I'm talking to nobody.
What did you say?
What? bastard! Lenny, where are you hiding now? Lenny, my boy!
How many have you had, pal?
There you are, Lenny.
Do I look like a Lenny to you?
Oh, Lenny! Lenny! Lenny!
I'm Clyde. You got the wrong fella.
Been looking all over for you, Lenny.
Lenny? Go away, you're drunk.
Found you, Lenny.
Lenny, what are you talking about?
Damn it, Lenny, stop slumping off on me.
Lenny? Maybe you should switch to water, my friend.
Arthur, what are you
You're a good friend to me, Arthur.
Shut up. Cheers. Cheers. Not you again. You're all right, boy.
You alive? Arthur! God, you alive, Arthur?
I want to die. Where are we? What did we do?
I don't know.
Oh, me neither. Yeah.
The mission ends, and we've been caught by the law, unfortunately, by the end of this mission. But we head out into the beautiful world of Valentine to plan our next move, and what we're going to do next in this vast land of opportunities.
That was a quiet drink.
First one was pretty quiet.
Yeah, the first one was pretty quiet.
At least it took your mind off goddamn Mikey.
As you may have noticed, the video cuts to us being stood outside of the stable area in Valentine, which is actually different to where we were before the cut. You see, this is because I recorded episode 2 in 3 separate parts to help out with burnout from playing the game for so long, which is why there may be cuts every now and then from when I stopped playing the game briefly. Now with that brief explanation out of the way, let us continue on our journey forth into part 2 of episode 2. Let's hope you don't get confused with that, because I know my editor did. Now, calling our horse to us, we begin to ride out of Valentine, making our way down the trodden path, saying howdy do to a couple of strangers, as we're rudely interrupted by an autosave sign. What a bitch. Now you may notice in the top left a little thing saying warning, this game is running low on memory. Now unfortunately my computer, while a good computer that runs the game very fine and very well at times, it also isn't the best in the world, and Red Dead Redemption 2 is a very demanding game that demands that you have a lot of space freed up for it. You may notice stutters, and you will definitely notice this thing popping up every now and then in the top left, and unfortunately there isn't a whole lot I can do about it in this current moment until I get better parts for my PC. But we will move on, and I'm sure you won't notice it too much. During our journey to find Glory and Riches? Famous? We'll go with Glory and Riches. We come across what seems to be an old and blind looking beggar asking for some money, and with our goal to become a fine and upstanding gentle sir, we happily gift the gentleman some pocket change, to which he gives us a cryptic message as we leave back on our travels once again.
You didn't run when last we spoke, sir. You didn't run far enough.
Well, okay then. Thank you, I guess.
Now, as you may recall in part 1, I mentioned that one of the side quests we will be doing is finding all the dinosaur bones in the game, and I decided to get a couple of them done now to help speed up the process and make sure that the later game goes by a lot quicker. The first bone I collect is the one at an abandoned old mining area out near Valentine. After finding said bone deep in a hole, we run off to find our second one. However, on the journey there, we find a stranger setting up a camp nearby, a kind gentleman named William.
The name's William.
He teaches us about the many plants this world has to offer, and asks for some aid from the finest rootin'-tootin' cowboy this side of the Wild West in collecting some of these plants and herbs. Just as a quest is given to us, it is quickly completed, as luckily for us, I already had the very plants that William was looking for. Lucky us, eh? And we get the mission completed there and then, right in a second. In return, we get ourselves a free horse reviver, and we go on our merry little way. While looking for the next dinosaur bone, we come across a prisoner who seems to have escaped. Wanting to do the right thing, I rope him up, attempting to take him back to prison. Though, because this game was made by Rockstar, and that means that nothing works as intended, that doesn't work, and instead seems to aggravate him and also make anyone who witnesses this scared and angry at us, which leads to the law getting involved, much to my disappointment. After finally escaping the law, we make our way to the next bone, hidden between some rocks and a hard place, collecting it and adding it to our collection. After collecting the bone, we head to the nearest post office, clearing our bounty, and at the same time mailing the bones that we've found so far off to Deborah to be paid some mighty fine rewards in return for our services. Continuing on the trail, we find yet another bone, and on the way to find one after that, we come across another legendary animal, completely at random, the legendary coyote. Now, this was completely accidental. I knew where the dinosaur bones were, sure, but I was yet to learn the location of all legendary animals, and so, coming across a coyote like this was completely by chance. Nevertheless, it is another creature on our list, and so, disregarding the bones for a moment, I set off in search of the legendary creature, eager to find it and take another one off of our list. After rummaging around through dung and various animal carcasses, we finally come across the great beast, killing it in 2 simple shots from our bow with a dead eye, and with the creature now slain, we approach it, skinning it, taking its pelt and meat, putting both the pelt and the carcass on the back of Arthur Jr. before riding off to go and find the trapper to sell the beast. On the way there, we deliver yet another letter to the post office to be sent to Deborah for her to collect the bone, and then we continue on. After selling the meat and the pelt to the fine animal hunter, we briefly stop to browse his wares before finally continuing on our journey, finding that dinosaur bone we missed earlier with the coyote, and then continuing on our quest. While walking around, we find a random gunslinger who challenges us to a bet. Of course, I wasn't really expecting to win, as in my first playthrough I did this mission and I remember it being relatively easy with a gun, but I also remembered that trying to do it with the bow for a brief moment, it didn't really work. But I wanted to give it a shot anyway, so I whip out my bow, and because it was the only weapon before I had the varmint rifle in this moment, I decided to try nonetheless and see what's happened. The first round goes as well as I can hope for, really, as we shoot multiple bottles, and surprisingly after drinking a tonic, I used my Deadeye and I completely shoot every single bottle that I can get and win by 1. The man, shocked by Arthur's incredible bow-firing capabilities, challenges him to another round, double the price, double the stakes. This time we're shooting birds from the sky, and the one who kills the most birds wins. Of course, this time I was sure I'd lose, as birds are far more fast than simple bottles that stood still. But again, I play nonetheless, and much to my surprise once more, I knocked back multiple arrows, fire, miss a few, and shockingly, I won as birds fell out of the sky. Instead of raining men or tacos, it's raining pigeons. Our reward for such fine shooting was $10, which in this economy isn't a whole lot, but it's still easy money. Now, returning back to camp, we begin to feed the camp with the various meat we've collected on our travels, handing it all over to Pearson to add to the camp's cooking pot for a night stew later in the day. And alongside that, we also check out some of his satchel upgrades to see what we could get from him. Unfortunately, we currently aren't able to get much from him, but they are still goals we must do before the game is done, and while we currently can't get them, we are still planning on doing them sometime in the near future. Wanting to help the camp a little and also get some upgrades to help us in the long run, I give the camp some money and some items hoping to use it to upgrade my tent and a few other camp supplies. Unfortunately, that feature is yet to be unlocked, so I head over to our scummy but useful friend Leopold Strauss to do some jobs for him.
You busy, my friend?
Why?
I'll cut you in.
Loaning. Already?
You know how it is. People is happy to borrow off someone like me, but more enthusiastic paying back to someone like you.
Of course. Who are they?
Let me see.
Heading out of camp after a brief conversation with Dutch, we make our way to the first debtor, Mr. Roble, a gentleman who either doesn't speak English or seems to be lying to us.
I don't speak German neither. I'm here for money. Money!
Of course, Arthur doesn't take too kindly to those who take money without giving back, so he threatens the man to pay him back, or else he'll have to get his knuckle sandwich makers involved to talk some sense into this man. The job is dirty, and I don't feel very right after that I have to do this, but Rockstar forces us, and what Rockstar says goes. But we continue on, and we rummage through Mr. Roble's house, taking his rings, his money, and anything that isn't nailed down. After collecting his debt in full, we head out to find our next debtor, Mr. Chick Matthews, hoping to collect his debt a lot more simply than we did with Mr. Roble. After a long ride there, we arrive at the farm, and for those of you who have played Red Dead before, will know right away that you can simply capture Chick before he runs off, if you already know who he is. Unfortunately, I forgot you have to talk to him first before you can get him, and so I lock myself out of the mission completely on accident. Deciding to just come back later, now that we've realised my failure, I head to get the next debtor mission nearby, completed in the meantime. Arriving, I find the debtors right away, thank goodness, and begin questioning them for the money. As usual, little Miss Lily here refuses to pay the debt and complicates things for me, and so her man decides to beat me up. And we beat him up as well because we're Arthur Morgan. You don't mess with me. Now we take the money from him and all's well that ends well, is what I'd say if for some reason a nearby stranger didn't decide to get all angry at us. And this led us to a fight where I accidentally shoot him with my revolver, meaning another fail added to our total. However, thankfully he doesn't die, and so I kill him with the knife. And instead, since for some reason my bow had disappeared from my butt, what the fuck did I write? What is this? None of this makes sense. God damn it. Oh crap. Since for some reason my bow has disappeared from my body. Unfortunately though, this leads to yet another stranger getting angry and scared from me, and so I chase down that one too. Thankfully this time, I calm him down without any bloodshed. Returning back to Chick, I attempt to take him from the beginning, and once again this fails for some reason. Probably my fault, but who knows, it's Rockstar. So then, I run off, return back, and then finally I do the mission properly, just the way Rockstar had intended. Of course, this means the slippery little bugger runs off on his horse, leading to a chase as we hunt him down, running through mountains and hills and fields. Finally, we catch up to him, lasso him off his horse, and threaten him, finally taking his map and finding some treasure that he hid nearby. After locating the treasure, we finally complete the first 3 Strauss missions, allowing us to finally head back to camp and deliver the good news to everyone. With the nets delivered to the camp funds, we finally earn enough money to buy a camp upgrade and also unlock it for the permanent use in the future. Going through the ledger book, we look at the various options, wondering which is most useful to pick. In the end, we purchase and upgrade to Strauss's medicine wagon and provide more tonics and goodies for us in the future, and then enter a cutscene telling Strauss about how we got on.
Fine. Our accounts are up to date. Sad sacks, a lot of them.
Good, very good.
My pleasure.
Well, if it's pleasure you're after, there is one other.
During the conversation, Strauss mentions a man, the man who stopped us during our fight in Valentine, and a man who will change Arthur's life permanently, Mr. Thomas Downs. Before heading off though, we return to the ledger to purchase another camp upgrade for ourselves, this time being an upgrade to Arthur's wagon and the various ammunition found there to help make getting free ammo easier rather than heading to our store all the time for new arrows. After collecting the arrows from our new wagon, we then head to the front of the wagon, trimming our beard and giving Arthur a cool looking mustache before we can leave. Before we can leave, however, we find a letter for Arthur, one by Arthur's ex-partner, Mary Linton, finally asking us out again. Or maybe not, who knows? Deciding to get some rest briefly, we sleep till nightfall and get up talking to Uncle, Miss Grimshaw, and stopping Bill from hurting Kieran too much. After that, we decide to go and help Mary with her situation, knowing that maybe it'll be good for us to get out of the gang business for a little while. But first, we make a stop in Valentine to stop by the gun store, picking up a new rifle, the Varmint rifle. For those of you who are unaware, I did a poll, I'd say recently, but it was a couple of weeks ago now, where I asked whether or not I was allowed to use a Varmint rifle to help with the hunting challenges and other little bits and pieces that I can't really do with the bow and the knife. The majority said yes, and so I purchased said rifle, as well as get some more ammo before heading off to find Mary. Before I do though, I once more get distracted, this time by a door behind the medicine store. I decide to check it out by robbing the place and make my way into the store, making the doctor open up and let us into the back room to see what was inside. Of course things never go right for me however, so after running out to grab my rifle when I realise that I didn't have it with me, I'm already locked out of the room and therefore cannot go in just yet. Deciding to just go out and deal with Mary, I make my way out to find her. However, I come across a random woman pointing a gun at me instead. With my impeccable riz, however, I calm the situation and wait for Mary to come out, so I can see what she wants from me this time. She gives us this sub-story and needs our help getting her brother back so that they can go home. Arthur has the choice of walking away or to help her.
Hello, Arthur.
Mary?
I heard you and your friends was around.
Okay. Where's what's his name?
Died.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Happened a while ago. Pneumonia.
Bad business.
Sure.
So, well, you've been made a widow and you come here looking for me, is that it?
No, ain't like that, Arthur.
Oh, okay.
Listen, Arthur, I'm... my family. I need your help.
You mean the family that always looked down on me? You want me to help them?
It's my little brother, Jamie.
After learning she needs help getting her brother back so they can go home, Arthur has a choice to walk away or to help. And of course, when a fair maiden is in distress, I cannot simply stand idly by and do nothing. Offering to help, I set off to go and find him, hoping I can get him back with no trouble. After a quick ride over there and a failed attempt to Skyrim our way up the mountain, we find Jamie amongst the cult of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And after some deep and powerful chit-chat, we finally get to Jamie, who clearly wants to make my life just a little bit harder by running away. Chasing him down while trying to get to him, I'm gonna krill myself. Chasing him down while trying to get to him, to calm himself and not do something foolish, we finally reach a train track, but the boy gets himself trapped on the other side while I wait for the train to pass by. As the train disappears, we see that Jamie has magically found himself a gun, and now we have to stop him from doing something that he'll regret. Once more we fail the challenge as the game forces us to use Deadeye briefly to shoot the gun from his hands. But luckily we don't kill him with it and we don't hurt him with it. Finally saving him from himself, we confront him about his foolishness and we take a ride back to see Mary, once again talking about various things with each other, as we ride back learning about Arthur's backstory more.
Forgive me, but your father's a bully and a coward. Don't listen to him.
Hey, don't talk about him like that.
What do you want me to say, Jamie? He's a good father? Nice man?
He won't be happy I saw you.
Please send him my worst regards.
We are let down by Mary once more, as it seems she used Arthur once again for her own personal gain. However, we finish the mission and we get a bit of internal dialogue from Arthur, explaining his thoughts and feelings to us a little more.
I feel like the luckiest man alive, and I feel like a fool. That woman confuses me and plays me for a fiddle like no one else alive. I trust I will not make a god-awful fool of myself once more, but somehow I imagine I shall.
Of course, we're on a mission for hunting, not for love, so we don't care much for that type of business, and we continue on our journey. Back in Valentine now though, however, we decide to go for round 2 with the good doctor and rob him once more, this time with our weapons in our inventory. Holding him at gunpoint, we manage to get ourselves into the back room, taking everyone out without so much as a shot fired by them or our bow. Or a bow. I use my bow. How can I... God damn it. That's... Oh, Jesus Christ. It's gonna go like a bloopers compilation or like a fail compilation of me not being able to speak. Jesus.
Later.
The law are quickly incoming, however, so we rob the place of all there is as best we possibly can and prepare for a shootout as we are trapped inside of the building with only one way out. And I can tell you now, the law are not going to be pleased that we rob this place. Blowing a hole in a safe with some dynamite, we take the goods inside and make a calculated dash out of the town, taking any and all law enforcement down who dare to fight with us. Realizing that we can't really avoid it, we decide to get Micah's quest over and done with, and on our way off, drop off the location of the dinosaur bone we found earlier, as well as pay our bounty off. On the way into Strawberry, we find ourselves an annoying little man who seems to be lost. But of course, we help him back into town, though not before humiliating him by making him walk beside us instead of on our horse. Trying to peacefully communicate with the sheriff in Strawberry goes about as well as you'd expect for Red Dead Redemption 2, and goes as smooth as sandpaper, so we decide to go about things in a less conventional and less quiet way. Approaching the back of the prison, we reach the cell where Micah is held and begin taunting him. Anyone with a brain would simply leave him to be killed, but Arthur doesn't have much of a brain apparently, so instead we're forced to save him. Using a nearby pulley system, we rip the cell wall clean off and set Micah free. The only good things to come out of this is one dead O'Driscoll, thankfully, that Micah killed. Using our trusty Using our trusty bow and rifle, we get to work clearing out all the town's reinforcements and good guys trying to stop us bad guys, shooting them all one by one, knocking them down with arrows and bullets alike.
woman like Skinny! Get out here! Skinny!
It ain't Skinny, Micah, it's Norman. Oh.
You always was a letdown, you fat sack of crap! Excuse me a minute, Arthur. Hello, Maddie. Did you miss me? They had something of mine. My guns. I showed him.
After Micah retrieves his guns from a house that, for some reason, had them, we finally get to the end of the fight, making our way to our horses, and make a mad dash for safety from the madness we just caused. Finally finding a bit of sanctuary, we chit-chat with the rat that is Micah Bell, and he gives us a gift, which we will never use, thanks to the challenge we're doing, but we still accept it nonetheless. And finally, with Micah's quest done and dusted, we head off to the most infamous mission that starts Arthur on his path of redemption. We set off to claim the debt owed to us by a Mr. Thomas Downs. Arriving at the farm, we find Thomas doing his usual field work, and after he doesn't comply, we beat him and make sure he knows who his father is.
Money from my business partner, Herr Strauss. You owe him, you took the money. He wants it back, what's not to understand? Where's our money?
I don't have it.
We threaten him for the money, only to find out he's flat broke, alongside the rest of his family unsurprisingly. And now knowing we're going to get nothing out of him, we decide to leave the poor man and begin riding back to camp as some solid and sad music begins to play, as Arthur Morgan finally catches a deadly disease. After arriving back at camp, we cheer out Strauss's ear over how scummy he was over lending the Downs money knowing they couldn't pay it back, but we realise that there's not much we can do about it right now, and we continue on with our journey. We hop on our horse as we head out to go and meet with Hosea, who seems to have acquired a business opportunity for us at the farm where we recently took a debt for Strauss. Arriving at the farm, we speak with Hosea and a jittery little gentleman named Seamus, who's clearly concerned about our presence, but he is willing to work with us if we steal from his cousin, by marriage, only by marriage. He drills that into our heads to make sure we don't get confused and think he's actually full cousins with this person for some God knows reason.
Who's old Bob Crawford?
An acquaintance of mine.
So you want us to take out your competition?
Well, he's not just an acquaintance, but a cousin. By marriage. I also want to see if you boys got what it takes. Now, you survive that.
Where is he?
Well, he's in a farmhouse just northwest of here called Carmody Dell. It's just up the train tracks as you're heading up towards Fort Wallace. There's also some money in that house, but that's your business, not mine. But don't kill nobody. Folks know we ain't intimate no more, and they'll know it was me.
But you're fine with us robbing your cousin.
By marriage. And yes, I'd love it.
You heard the man. Let's go rob his cousin.
By marriage.
Riding there, we walk with Hosea and we talk with Hosea about our feelings on where we're at currently, talking about concerns and happiness with various topics while riding to our destination. Finally, we arrive at the barn and we begin to scope out the area, deciding on what will be the best way to approach this. Eventually, I decide that the best course of action would be to simply distract them and attack now rather than waiting till nighttime. So I send Hosea forwards to distract the citizens living here while I sneak in around the back and take anything that I can find. He puts up a good front with some massage nonsense, and we head into the homestead, rummaging through cupboards, drawers, chimneys, and all sorts of hidden spots, taking everything that I can possibly get my hands on, and taking anything that wasn't nailed down. Now, after stealing everything I can get my hands on, I head out to the shed off to the side of the house, and sneak inside, getting on the wagon that we are meant to steal, and waiting for Hosea to come to us so we can head out. A few moments go by, and everyone's favourite gun-slinging old man finally arrives, hopping into the wagon beside us, as we ride out like nothing ever happened. Unfortunately though, I seem to have forgotten to close the various cupboards and cabinets that I opened, leading to the two inside realising they were robbed, and Hosea probably was the one who helped cause it. Lucky for us, however, we're already long gone by the time they realize it, and we return back to Seamus without any trouble.
Nice people.
Park that thing in here. Quickly. Nice work, Hosea.
It was mostly Arthur. Like I said, coarse but competent.
Here.
Thank you.
If you find any other coaches that need selling, I'll see what I can offer you for them. But discreet, you know.
Of course.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
After some brief chatting between Seamus and Hosea, we begin to plan out our next move, telling Hosea we'll return back to camp on our own when he asks us if we want to ride back with him. Seeing as we're now in the area, I attempt to sell off some of the stolen goods to Seamus now that the fence has been unlocked. Unfortunately for me, it seems Rockstar strikes again in their ongoing attempt to screw me over, leading to me being unable to access the fence at this moment, and after I fail multiple more times, I eventually give up and begin heading out to meet up with Javier, who seems to have learnt more on his locating Sean job. Before heading up to meet with Javier though, I make a quick stop in Valentine to stock up on some ammo and supplies, and whilst heading to the gun store, I actually meet up with everyone's favourite parasite, Uncle. As usual, the old man is getting up to more mischief, is being accosted by another man, while he is drunk. Of course, Arthur steps in to make sure he isn't killed, and after ignoring the threat of the man who harassed Uncle, we finally reach the gun store and browse the catalogue for some more ammo. On the ride over to Blackwater, we come across another stranger mission, this time being Arcadia for Amateurs. And lucky for us, this is another one of the quests we can do. In this questline, we meet a one Albert Mason, a wildlife photographer who enlists the aid of Arthur in a series of quests to get the best pictures possible, and lucky for us, this requires very minimal use of guns, and that also means a nice free and easy quest to complete. So far so good in the quest, as the two gentlemen have a good old chinwag with one another regarding nature and photography, and the pressures of the ever-evolving world. However, things take a not so pleasant turn, as a dastardly coyote, according to Arthur, takes the bag of the photographer. Now Arthur, being the lovely man he is, takes off after the beast, hunting it down like the skilled tracker he is. We chase it over a nearby mountainside, and before it can escape, we shoot the beast with our bow, stopping it in its tracks, and returning the bag to Mr. Mason. Finally returning back on our travels, we set out to a land not too welcoming to us. We finally set out to return to Blackwater. Blackwater is regarded as a more modern and civilized town in this world of crazy gunslinging outlaws and thieves. It's a town that embraces the world of tomorrow, while still keeping the old-timey charm well recognized within the world of Red Dead Redemption 2. Unfortunately for us though, this is also a town that has a shoot-on-sight policy for Arthur Morgan and his kind. With caution in the wind and in our mind and hearts, I take it slow, riding up carefully along the river and up the main path, hoping to avoid the eyes of the law and make our way to Javier without any trouble. Unfortunately for us, Rockstar clearly didn't want anyone going into here, and as soon as we enter the slightest bit of land of Blackwater that it has to offer us, we're surrounded by law, shooting at us and giving us no hope of escape. I ride as fast as possible, shooting them one by one in the hopes of escaping to get to the other side, starting the mission. But sadly, it does not come to fruition, as they seemingly never end, and eventually I realise I cannot escape them. And finally, I give up, letting them kill me so I can try again without the law on my tail. Luckily, however, this time things go a bit better, as I use a path I found during my first attempt to climb up the rocks and make my way to the others without being detected. I sneak up behind them and lay down with my compatriots, as we get to work planning what's going on and making a plan on how to bust out Sean.
Where's that little Irish pest?
I'm not quite sure. Trelawney's off trying to find out.
Has anyone been in the Blackwater, see how things lie?
Place is crawling with Pinkertons, bounty hunters, and pictures of Dutch and Hosea.
Well, we got a lot of money sitting in that town.
And that's where it's gonna remain for now.
Why haven't they hanged Sean, I wonder?
I think he's bait. Well, they want to trial him publicly.
Gentlemen, Sean is being moved up the upper Montana, then to a federal prison out west.
Damn. Well, we can't be rescuing people from some federal prison. We either rescue him now or cut him loose.
We're not cutting anyone loose.
Of course not.
Ike Skelding's boys are moving him to a camp nearby before handing him over to the government.
So, I guess we need to stop them before they get to camp. Charles, why don't you head up on the north side, and then we'll head up on the other side of the valley and meet you. That way we have them in either direction. Javier, Josiah, come on. Let's go see.
We learn that Sean is being moved to a federal prison by some bounty hunters and intend on crashing that party during the exchange to break our good chum out. Riding along the very edge of Blackwater, we spot our target, a boat supposedly carrying Sean inside, as well as a whole group of money-loving, gun-wielding bounty hunters ready to kill us or anyone else at a moment's notice. The boat finally makes its stop, and after ensuring Sean is with them and Charles is ready to go over on the other side, we make our way down with Trelawney, hiding behind some rocks and sneaking up on the two guards left behind. Once distracted by our fancy dress friend, we do a little bit of stabby and advance up slowly. Unfortunately for us, however, Javier seems to be a moron and decides to shoot one of the men, causing the rest of them to be alerted, meaning a fight ensues. We climb our way up bit by bit, taking out bounty hunter after bounty hunter, managed to get up without many issues thankfully. Finally reaching the top, we meet up with Charles and let him take us to where they're keeping Sean, hoping not to run into any more issues. Lucky for us though, the only issue that comes up is killing some bad guys and rescuing our friend from certain danger. And it seems to me that is our specialty. We pick them off one by one and finally reach Sean, who's tied up dangling by his legs. Lucky for him though, Arthur brought his trusty knife and cuts a lovable Irish fool down. After some good talk and a good catch up, we complete the mission, looting the area for any goodies and taking off before any law enforcement can capture us and put us in the same position Sean was just in.
A warm embrace for a lost brother now found.
You know, nothing means more to me than this gang, the bond we share. It's the most real thing to me. I would kill for it, I would happily die for it. But in spite of all of that, I would have easily left you here to rot if Charles hadn't stopped me.
I don't believe a word of that, Arthur.
Get him out of here.
You're a great man, Arthur Morgan. The kind of young whippersnapper can really admire.
Oh, shut up. Right, we should split up. Javier, will you escort Mr. McGuire back to camp?
Finally returning to camp, the gang are in full celebration mode, partying, drinking and having a joyous old time to celebrate the turn of Sean. We drink, we sing, we dance and laugh the night away, having a brief shave of our facial hair before finally turning in for the night to turn night to day. Morning comes and we speak to John, who tells us more details on the plan to rob the train Mary Beth mentioned to us in our first visit in Valentine with Uncle and the others.
Train full of wealthy folk rolling down through Scarlet Meadows just south of the state border?
Yes.
Need help with it?
I ain't even sure about doing it.
Come on. At night, not too guarded, it's perfect.
Nah, I ain't thought it through. You know, stopping a train, pain in the ass.
Sure, but what if we could force a train to stop?
Well, of course.
We get a wagon full of something flammable, oil, put it on the tracks. They see it. They know they either have to stop or die. Ain't no train driver wants to be cooked alive.
That is kind of brilliant. For you. That is a real idea. I think that's the first time you ever had one of them.
Shut up.
You might be the first bastard to ever have half his brains eaten by a wolf and end up more intelligent.
After checking the map, we head out to find a Cornwall oil wagon to bring to the meeting spot to help John with the plan. And of course, things go absolutely swell and perfect with zero issues in the slightest, as they always do for me, obviously. I mean, come on guys, you really think I'm that big of an amateur? Our first attempt at sneaking in though, it goes about as well as you'd expect carrying an oil wagon with a bunch of gun-wielding nutjobs surrounding us. We get blown up by the oil and inside the wagon, and a dead and roasted Arthur Morgan is on the menu for tea tonight. However, lucky for us though, our second attempt goes much smoother as we sail out of there without a problem at all. We take out the people following on our trail as we arrive at the meeting spot, setting the wagon up and stopping someone who witnessed our brief murder spree before heading off to start yet another mission. The third and final part of the recording opens up with Arthur once again in Valentine. We quickly open up our map to begin looking for what adventures we will be doing today and decide to head back into camp to meet up with John for that train job we've been planning. Before leaving, we of course brush our horse, cleaning any dirt and mud off of the beautiful creature's body, and then set off. Arriving back at camp, we speak with Mr. Marston and begin discussing the plan, making sure everything is ready and going to plan.
Let's get on. Good. And you?
Got everything we need.
Good. I think we need another man. Charles?
I'll go get him. Meet us at the wagon when you can.
Sure.
See, Arthur? Ain't that dumb.
Next time, let the wolves eat all your brain. Then you'll be a genius.
Of course, we can't go a few moments without teasing John, so we make sure he knows we remember his little stunt with the wolves in the last episode. Wanting to stick around camp and help out for a bit first, we decide we're going to help out Abigail with her quest. Though on the way, we first stop by to see what we can buy from the camp ledger. We upgrade Strauss's wagon and restock some supplies, wanting to ensure that the camp is happy, healthy, and ready to go, as we then set off on our journey into the Wild West. After fully upgrading Strauss's wagon, we fully upgrade Person's food, and then we go and see Abigail to see what she needed help with.
Come here a minute.
What is it?
Can I ask you a favor?
Probably not.
Very funny. Would you do something with Jack? He seems kind of down. All this upheaval can't have been easy on the poor kid.
Why? Because I'm your preferred nursemaid?
Because you do what you say. Please?
Okay. I'll take him in the morning.
Thank you.
With John being the foolish man that he is, Abigail has requested that we spend time with Jack, John's son, because John, as usual, is denying his wife the time and help she needs from her partner. Morning comes, and as promised, Arthur approaches Jack, offering to take him out for something fun to do, specifically to go for some fishing.
I guess.
You want to come fishing with me?
Fishing?
Sure. It's about time that you started to earn your keep.
Okay.
Good. Let's go get your pole then. Now, you do have a fishing pole, don't you?
I sure do. Uncle Jose made me one.
Good. Well, let's go get it then. Go catch us some fish.
Yeah.
Collecting our fishing supplies, we get on our horse and ride off down toward the river, with Jack checking up on the poor wee lad, making sure he's not still feeling unwell after being in the cold, cold mountain. Arriving, we take our fishing rod off of our horse and make our way down to the riverbank, deciding to use the old Wallace and Gromit technique and whack some cheese on our rod before tossing it into the water to catch some fish. After catching us a nice fish and Jack abandoning us to go and do some silly nonsense with making something, we continue our fishing for a few more minutes, catching us another few fish to add to our pile and take back to camp. Finishing up, we check on Jack, inspecting the necklace he made for his mother before being rudely interrupted by some not-so-pleasant gentlemen. The Pinkerton Detective Agency, specifically Agent Milton and Agent Ross, two men who proved to be nothing but trouble for us in the time coming. They threaten us a little, giving us some bad news about our good friend Mac. Making our way back to camp with Jack after the disturbing revelation of what happened to our good friend Mac, we hand Jack off to Abigail and hurry to see Dutch, telling him of what just happened and that we are currently being tracked down by the Pinkertons.
Guys out near the river. A fella named, Milton, and, I don't remember the other fella's name. Ross. Milton and Ross. And they are employees of the Pinkerton Detective Agency. And they know about the train, and they know we're here.
Were you followed back here?
No, they know we're near here. And they want you, Dutch. They offered me my freedom in exchange, they did.
Why didn't you take it?
Very funny. Well, what do we do now?
I say we do nothing. Just yet.
Dutch tells us to keep calm and keep her going, and we do just that, deciding to finally get another one of the rats, I mean Micah's mission, done. First, so we decide to help Charles with a hunting mission, wants us to go and help him hunt some bison for the camp.
No, you simple-minded fool. Bison.
Bison?
Bison. From which you can get anything. There's some over on the plains, I believe. I saw a couple a long way off.
Oh. Good luck.
You want to come with me? I'll show you how we hunt one.
Sure. Why not?
Mount up then. Let's go.
Moving on our horses, we arrive, take down the bison with Charles's help, and skin the beautiful beast for some supplies to take home with us. Before we leave, however, Charles notices some birds scavenging on something, so we check out what it is, only to find out in our dismay that it was 3 bison killed by some dastardly hunters. Now these hunters, they're not like Arthur. Arthur's a good hunter. He only kills what he needs to kill. We continue our ride as we find more dead bison along the way, and finally a camp set up. We inspect the camp and follow the trail of the people who did this to question them and why they thought this was a good thing to do. Arriving at the camp and Charles kills one, I kill the other, rob them of anything they had, and then make our way out of the camp, heading back to our original goal of finding Micah. On the way though, we come across some disagreeable monsters who need to be put down, and so we do the only right thing, and we do exactly that. Putting them down like the pathetic, rabid, disgusting creatures they are. Finally arriving at Micah's camp, we talk to him, letting him yap and make some excuse about a peace offering to Dutch, in the form of a stagecoach, and something about a big tree and tiny shadows and yada yada yada. And Micah may have been doing some sort of drugs while away from the camp. With all that out of the way, we follow the rat down the mountain path to hunt down this stagecoach, waiting for its arrival and finally making our attack when it does eventually arrive in our view. Running down after it, we shoot the guards and drivers, taking them down one by one with a wham bam boom and our alakazam, and we make it a nice, quick and easy scuffle. We finally take over the wagon for ourselves, letting Micah drive this time as we ride shotgun. He yaps and tries to make us trust him more as we continue to make our move along the path, wary of any sort of danger that could spring up on us at any moment. Unfortunately though, Arthur's suspicion was right and we're now being robbed by the O'Driscolls, and have to fend them off as an epic battle ensues, leading to multiple dead scumbags and a very alive and well Arthur Morgan. We take our money, making sure Micah knows to give the gang its share of the moolah, and on the way to our next And on the way to our next stop, we meet Jeremy Gillick, a strange fisherman who offers to pay Arthur for a big fish, giving us a fishing mat too. What a kind soul he is. Arriving at the destination for the train job, we meet up with Sean, who seems to think we're bringing him along for the train job. Unfortunately though, the game doesn't let us say no to the odd job, and so we do have to give him a benefit of the doubt and bring him along, despite his many oddities.
What are you doing here, kid?
I'm coming, John. On the job.
I said you weren't coming.
Yeah, well, Arthur says I am, and it's his party, boy, so come on, let's go. Me and the big cheeses. Love it.
Can't wait to slit some bastard's throat.
You sure about this?
No.
The others arrive as night comes and we ride the wagon to the stop, making sure it stops right on the tracks where we want it to go. Some waiting occurred as it always does, and soon enough the train arrives. Forced to stop as Arthur stands using his macho aura to make the big fang stop his locomotive motion. Finally, the train makes a stop, and from the shadows comes our good friends who sneak over and knock out the conductor and his guards to ensure that they cannot call for backup. Entering the train, Arthur gets to work immediately and knocks down one man while John gets to work clearing out the train and taking the valuables from anyone who gives them up to us. Unfortunately though, some of them need a bit of enticing, and so, to spare them, I give them a smack and a wallop to convince them to do what I say. Things are going well as we deal with each angry person aboard the train, making them give us their money and riches. Finally reaching the end of the train, now we go and meet up with Sean, checking up on the lovable Irish fool. Unfortunately though, Sean as usual is doing something stupid, leading to us having to bail him out, as we use our newly purchased varmint rifle to take down the guards who have finally showed up to take us down. Unfortunately for them, I'm the fastest hand in the West, and as soon as they came, they dispatched just as fast, falling like a sack of bricks as we slowly move up onto the train further. Looting the goodies tucked away inside the train, we make quite the good haul, taking everything we can get from this big metal beast. However, just as we're about to head out, we see two people riding in on horses, and so get ready for a fight. Unfortunately for us though, our luck seems to be running out, as the two men seem to be multiplied as if they did some sort of mitosis, spreading into more men and horses. As per usual, a fight breaks out and my aim is as impeccable as always, meaning I hit every single shot on them with 100% accuracy. With those lot taken care of, me and the gang make our move, hurrying off into the night, summoning our horses and riding away into the night with them. We ride past barns, trees, the whole kit and caboodle, before finally escaping the law. We split up, running off into the night, getting our money split into different parts for the gang before making sure we're not tailed. A cut later and we're meeting up with Javier talking about Sloppy Bill, who's been caught by some bounty hunters. After sneaking up on the camp with Javier, we take them down one by one till the last one remains, looting the corpses of his friend and forcing him to free Sloppy Bill from his restraints. With Bill free, he and Javier head back to camp, and I head off in search of more adventure and quests of glory. We find John amongst a large crowd of sheep back in Valentine, speaking to him and learning about his plan to steal some sheep from a farmer near him and sell them in Valentine and earn the money the farmer is going to get for ourselves. Unfortunately for us, here comes yet another forced section in the run, but we use a gun not allowed by the challenge's restrictions. Now, we must use a sniper rifle to scare some sheep and the farm hand, and as you can see here, we buy the sniper for John and then head off with him. Now as said, we do fail the run once again unfortunately, but we will continue the challenge for the time being just to see how far we can go. Arriving at the mountaintop after riding around with John on top of the horses, we get set up to getting down in the dirt and preparing to shoot at the people guiding the sheep. We take shots at them as we scare off each of the ranch hands, making them abandon the sheep, leaving room for us to swoop in and take control. We hurry down on our horses, approaching each of the sheep, guiding them back into one big group, and once they're all rounded up, we guide them back in the worst mission ever, because of how slow it is. The sheep are rounded up and guided back to Valentine, ready to sell them off and earn us some quick, simple, and easy cash. With the sheep in the pen, John and Arthur do some quick talking to convince the workers to not rat us out, and then we head into a nearby bar to speak with Dutch and Strauss and have a drink after such a painful mission in the sun. We sit down as Dutch sends Strauss and John off, but we're soon enough rudely interrupted by some dastardly devils, led by our one Leviticus Cornwall, a devilish name who you'll recall owned the train that we robbed out in the snow. Now, our good friend Mr. Cornwall here isn't too happy with us and has captured our wonderful compatriots, leaving us to have to save them. Unfortunately, this is yet another forced dissection, leading to another fail in this quest, all in the same mission. We failed the mission, trying to do anything other than use our gun, but restart and this time do things how Rockstar intended to stop them from harming us in the future. We save Strauss and Mr. Marston and get to work picking off the incoming forces, finally getting to use our bow and picking off each new enemy that comes our way, driving our arrows into various parts of them. We pick them off one by one as we move up through the town, clearing anyone in our path, while hurrying to our goal, as our good friend Mr. Strauss has been hit by a stray bullet. My bow skills are impeccable as always, taking down foe after foe, as Strauss has moved up slowly in the wagon towards our exit. Dutch, Strauss and John run to safety as I hop on my own horse, and after a small bit of struggling, we escape from Valentine and arrive back at camp safe and sound.
We stop when we find someplace sensible, shake them that's following us, and lie low.
This is lying low? We turned into a bunch of killers, I mean it. We ain't even got the delusion of being anything but a bunch of killers.
We are just trying to survive, Hosea. We don't have a choice. This'll end soon.
Damn right it will.
Constipated as usual. Micah told me of a place we can lie low. Look here. Dewberry Creek, he said.
Okay.
Maybe you and Charles can go take a look, clear off anyone you find before the whole lot of us move in looking so conspicuous.
And how we gonna do that?
I don't know. Start dancing?
Looks like I turned into the goddamn errand boy.
You have turned into my son. You worry because I worry. We are just the same.
Charles, come with me. We got work to do.
With the law creeping down our necks, we head out with Charles to check out a new camp location Micah suggested. Though of course we are suspicious the entire way there because Micah suggested it. But hey, Dutch insisted, and therefore we must do what Dutch says. Arriving at the location, we realise that as usual, Micah has picked a god-awful spot, and we know that this will be a terrible location for the gang. But we're out of options and begin inspecting to see if there's a viable spot for us to live in for the time being. We see the ruins of a camp and begin inspecting it, see if anyone's still occupying it. Much to our luck, we don't seem to find anyone at first. Unfortunately though, things take a turn for the worse, as while investigating we come across a woman and her children, who seem very on edge. Convincing them to come out of hiding, Arthur is reluctant, but he is convinced by Charles to go and save their father, who has been kidnapped by some strangers. Riding alongside our fellow gang member, we begin riding to find the family's father, hurrying along, tracking them as we go, with our good friend moving through trees, hills and beaches. Finally, we come across the camp and find the man, freeing him from his bindings, and getting ready to leave with him, just in time for the gang who kidnapped him to return and begin attacking us. Unfortunately for them though, we're the fastest gun-slinging, bow-firing, rifle-shooting, dynamite-planting, knife-flinging, lasso-swinging cowboy this side of the gosh-darn diddly-dang good west. The foes fall like a sack of bricks once more, and we come out victorious. We return the settler back to his family as Charles goes off to find Dutch and the others. In return for a good deed, the man pays us back with a lovely spot of gold, and we end the mission by returning to our new camp spot, waiting for the gang to arrive. Everyone arrives, and we get to work unpacking our belongings and getting our new home set up, as we end off Chapter 2 and enter Chapter 3 of the series of Can You Beat Red Dead Redemption 2 as a hunter.